The cave loomed ahead, its entrance half hidden by thick layers of moss and tangled vines. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth, and the faint sound of dripping water echoed from within. But it wasn't the cave itself that caught the attention of the man standing before it. It was his dog's relentless barking. The dog, a medium-sized mutt with golden fur and a distinctive white patch on his chest, had always been loyal and intuitive. His name was Max, and he had been by his owner's side for 5 years. His owner, Daniel, had rescued him from a shelter, and since then the two had been inseparable. Max's bright eyes and ever-alert ears reflected his curious and protective nature. But today, something was different. Daniel had noticed it from the moment they left the house. Their usual morning walk through the hills, a peaceful routine filled with the scent of pine and wildflowers, had taken an unusual turn. Max, normally calm and composed, seemed unusually on edge. His fur bristled, his ears twitched at every sound, and his tail was stiff with tension. Daniel had tried to brush it off, but when Max suddenly froze, his gaze fixed on something beyond the trees, Daniel knew something was wrong. Before Daniel could react, Max darted ahead, barking furiously as if chasing an invisible force. "Max, stop!" Daniel called, but the dog's determination was clear. He raced after him, the trail growing more treacherous with every step. The ground beneath his feet was uneven, twisted roots and hanging branches making the pursuit all the more difficult. The further they went, the more Daniel struggled to keep up. Finally, he caught sight of Max standing alert at the mouth of the cave. The dog's barks echoed off the rocky hillside, his focus trained on the dark entrance. Daniel knelt beside him, placing a calming hand on Max's head. "What is it, boy?" he asked softly. But Max remained anxious, pawing at the dirt near the entrance, his barks insistent. The sense of something unknown lurking within the darkness sent a chill down Daniel's spine. It wasn't just the eerie stillness of the cave. It felt as though the blackness ahead was alive, almost beckoning them into its depths. Daniel hesitated, torn between reason and the palpable tension in the air. He could easily turn back, return to the familiar safety of the trail, leaving whatever mystery the cave held behind him. Yet Max's urgency was impossible to ignore. Taking a deep breath, Daniel reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out his phone. With a flick, the flashlight illuminated the cave's entrance, casting a narrow beam of light into the darkness. The beam revealed jagged rock walls leading deeper into the unknown. Without a word, Daniel knew what he had to do. "All right, boy," Daniel muttered, glancing at Max, whose restless energy had calmed, but whose focus remained unbroken. "Let's see what's in there." The beam of light sliced through the cave's darkness, revealing a rocky tunnel that stretched beyond the light's reach. Max, seeing that his owner had finally grasped the gravity of the situation, stopped barking and looked at Daniel expectantly. It was as if the dog was saying, "Come on, we have to go in. This is important." Daniel took a deep breath, summoning his courage. "All right, Max," he said, his voice echoing faintly at the cave's entrance. "Let's see what you found." With cautious steps, man and dog ventured into the dark abyss of the cave, unaware that they were on the verge of a discovery that would change their lives forever. The sound of their footsteps and Max's heavy breathing were the only noises piercing the sepulchral silence around them. As they pressed on, the air grew colder and damper. The beam of the flashlight danced along the rocky walls, casting shadows that seemed to move of their own accord. Daniel could feel the weight of the unknown pressing on his shoulders, yet Max's unwavering determination drove him to continue. What felt like an eternity passed, though in reality it could have been only minutes, before the tunnel widened, opening into a larger chamber. And it was there, in the heart of that hidden cave, that Daniel and Max stumbled upon something that would challenge everything they believed to be possible. Daniel's flashlight swept across the chamber, revealing rocky walls covered in moss and delicate limestone formations. The air was cold, damp, and heavy with the scent of wet earth. Max, still restless, sniffed the ground with growing intensity, occasionally letting out a low whimper. "What is it, boy? What do you sense?" Daniel murmured, his heart racing with a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. Suddenly a faint sound echoed through the cave. Daniel froze, straining his ears. There it was again, a muffled sob, barely audible.
"Is someone there?" Daniel called out, his voice trembling.
The silence that followed was broken only by Max's labored breathing. Then, as if in answer to his question, a low, frightened cry filled the cave. Daniel and Max exchanged glances. Without hesitation, they moved deeper into the cave, guided by the sound of the sobbing. The tunnel began to narrow, forcing Daniel to crouch to avoid the stalactites that hung low from the ceiling. Finally, after what seemed like another endless stretch of time, the flashlight illuminated a small figure huddled against the cave wall. It was a little girl, no older than 6. Her face was dirty and streaked with tears, and she clutched her knees to her chest in a protective gesture.
"Oh my God!" Daniel gasped, rushing toward the child. Max followed closely, his tail wagging with excitement. The girl looked up, startled by their sudden appearance, and shrank further against the wall, her wide eyes filled with fear.
"It's okay, sweetheart," Daniel said gently, kneeling at a safe distance so as not to scare her further. "We're here to help. I'm Daniel, and this is Max. What's your name?" The girl hesitated for a moment, her eyes darting between Daniel and Max. Sensing her need for comfort, Max slowly approached and lay down beside her, offering his warmth and reassuring presence.
"Emma," the girl finally whispered, her voice barely audible.
"Emma, I'm so glad we found you," Daniel said, feeling a wave of relief wash over him. "Are you hurt?" Emma shook her head but then pointed to her ankle. "I fell and I can't walk very well," she explained. Daniel nodded in understanding. "Don't worry, we'll get you out of here. Can you tell me how you ended up in this cave?" Tears began to roll down Emma's cheeks once more. "I was camping with my parents. I went exploring and got lost. Then I found this cave and thought I could hide from the rain, but I couldn't find my way back." Daniel's heart ached as he imagined the terror this little girl must have felt, alone in the darkness for who knows how long. "How long have you been here, Emma?" he asked softly.
"I don't know," she sobbed, her small voice trembling. "It feels like a long time. I'm hungry and thirsty."
Grateful for his habit of always being prepared, Daniel quickly took off his backpack. He pulled out a bottle of water and a cereal bar and handed them to the girl. She accepted them eagerly, her small hands shaking slightly. As Emma ate and drank, Daniel's mind raced. They needed to get out of the cave and find her parents, but the journey ahead would be difficult with her injured ankle. He had no idea how long she had been missing or how far away they were from where she got lost. Max, sensing Daniel's growing concern, placed his muzzle gently on his owner's hand, as if to reassure him. The silent gesture seemed to say, "We can do this." Daniel took a deep breath, knowing the weight of responsibility now rested squarely on his shoulders. He needed to stay calm for Emma, find a safe way out, and somehow reunite her with her worried parents.
"Emma," he said gently, "do you think you can lean on me? We'll get out of here together and find your parents, okay?"
Emma nodded bravely, a small, hesitant smile flickering across her face for the first time. "Max will come too, right?" Daniel smiled, running his hand over Max's head. "Of course, Max brought us to you and he'll help us get out of here too." With that, Daniel carefully helped Emma to her feet, letting her lean on him for support. He knew that they were only at the beginning of what would be a long and treacherous journey. The darkness of the cave, the rough terrain, and the uncertainty of the world outside loomed ahead of them. But with Max's unwavering loyalty and their shared determination, they would face every challenge and see Emma safely home.